In this video, I'll be showing you the best upcoming indie games for PC that are slated to be released during the spring of 2019 in the turn-based tactics, RPG and citybuilder/tycoon genres. But if this is your first time on my channel, good morning, afternoon, evening, I'm StefaNonsense and gaming and geek culture is what I do. This is a new series of videos I'm doing this year in order to spotlight more games than I can actually play. So without further ado, let's begin. Druidstone: The Secret of the Menhir Forest is a tactical turn-based RPG that promises to be one hell of an experience, at least according to the devs and some of the previews I've read. Druidstone is being made by the creators of the Legend of Grimrock games, and considering how those games are more or less responsible for re-energizing the old school first-person dungeon crawler genre, this game does have some pedigree for infusing old school gaming with modern mechanics. From the trailer available, the game looks well animated, colorful, and definitely has a bit of a Divinity Original Sin crossed with XCOM vibe going for it. The developers have decided to release their mission editor post-launch to let the mod community go crazy with their game. Druidstone is scheduled for release sometime this spring. Foundation. City builders are back, baby! I've been saying that city builders are coming back for a couple of years now, and 2019 might just be the year where they return to the attention of an even wider public. Foundation is one city building title that has the potential to become a major name in the genre, a gridless medieval themed city builder which focuses on the organic development of your settlement and on monument creation. The game was successfully kickstarted in March of 2018, full disclosure, I am a backer of the game, and it promises to supply a solid experience of highly customizable settlement building, monument construction, as well as coming with full modding support. I like how focused the developers have been both on working on the game as well as keeping their community updated on what is going on with the development process. I am super excited to play Foundation and looking forward to it going into early access at the beginning of 2019. Forager. This blend of Terraria, Stardew Valley crossed with Don't Starve is scheduled for a January release, and its cartoony pixel art aesthetic, mellow music and constant activity is poised to eat up a lot of my time this 2019. Just like in most of those other titles, you have to gather resources, process them into further resources in order to build and craft more advanced buildings and better objects. You do all of this in order to explore the land around you and level up your character. I played the humble demo and enjoyed it tremendously, and you can find out more details by watching my video about it by clicking on the card in the upper right corner right here. Fort Triumph is a title that offers a very XCOM-like tactical turn-based experience set in a very tongue-in-cheek fantasy world. This would have been enough to sell me on the concept if it were executed well enough, but when I played the demo I was very pleasantly surprised to find a pretty heavy Heroes of Might and Magic influence inside as well. The game has been in early access since April of 2018 and is expected to reach final release form sometime at the beginning of 2019. Check out my gameplay video of Fort Triumph to get a better idea of what the game has to offer. Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure. Changing gears for a bit here, Gibbous is an honest-to-goodness old-school inspired point-and-click adventure in the vein of the old LucasArts games. As the title implies, this will be a Cthulhu-themed game, but it's a highly comedic approach to the subject. The animations are classic hand-drawn frame by frame, the voice cast is solid, and the amount of pop culture references in the thing is definitely sure to cause madness in anyone trying to find all of them. I played and reviewed the demo during the game's Kickstarter campaign back in 2017, and you can find it here if you want more details. Gibbous is expected to be released sometime in the first quarter of 2019, Cthulhu willing. Workers and resources. Having lived most of the first 27 years of my life in a post-communist country, the Soviet-themed everything that can be seen in this resource management/tycoon game is something that is extremely familiar to me on a very personal level. The implementation of the Soviet theme in terms of the planned economy is what truly interests me, since we're kinda sure by now that Soviet-style communism hasn't had the best track record out there. Yeah. The game is expected to go into early access at the beginning of 2019, so make sure to keep an eye out for it, comrade. Encased is the only turn-based post-apocalyptic RPG on this list, and considering my channel, that's a rarity, although I do expect more such titles to sprout out as the year progresses. The devs promise a sci-fi world that will react to player actions, the presence of an unstable entity AI within an alien and mysterious dome region or construction, filled with weird phenomenon, advanced technology, and warring factions. The game world will keep track of what you do in terms of crimes as well as the decisions that will influence the plot. It will then react to said crimes and decisions. Encased sounds like an old school RPG version of Stalker, and that sounds cool as hell. It's also planned to enter early access at the start of 2019. Seeds of Resilience is a survival crafting sort of city builder set on a traditional square grid but with a bit of a twist. It's turn-based. Your party of survivors is shipwrecked on an island and they have to gather resources to survive and craft shelters to protect them from the elements. The survival aspect seems to be the second most important feature of the game after its turn-based nature, because the deserted island that your survivors will be lucky enough to come upon will be constantly hit with all manner of natural disasters. Despite the constant assault of the elements, you'll be tasked with gathering, harvesting, and crafting yourself a medieval level of technology village from the ground up. One other interesting feature that the game offers is that each gathered resource or transformation of raw material will have a distinct impact on the environment, which is something you'll have to consider. The game is already in early access and will hopefully see a full release sometime during the spring of 2019. I played the Kickstarter demo of Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark back in October of 2017, and after the successful campaign, the developers took a bit of time and then released the game into early access in August of 2018. The game is a heavily JRPG, manga, anime inspired, turn-based tactical combat game with a solid focus on storytelling and challenging battles. As you should expect from the JRPG influence, the game features a plethora of classes and class variants for your characters, their own attribute and skill systems, crafting, and a whole lot more. I enjoyed playing the demo very much, and the developers have built a great community around their game, which you can find on their Discord channel. The game is scheduled for an April release, and you can bet your asses I'll be playing it once it's out. Finishing off my list with what is by far the moodiest and thematically rich title, Othercide is presented to be a horror-infused tactical turn-based game with some twist to how combat will function and a deeply disturbing mystery to explore. The title caught my attention, but it is the art style that really got me interested. The black and white art direction with touches of vivid red, making the gameplay footage like a highly stylized cross between a noir and classic horror movie. The developers say that the turn-based aspect of the game will be approached somewhat differently, and that the gameplay itself will be brutal, featuring permadeath and tough sacrifices that will have to be made in order to end up victorious. Not much else is known about the title other than it is projected to be released either in full or early access sometime at the beginning of 2019. And these are the titles that I am most looking forward to checking out during the spring of 2019. Let me know in the comments if any of these tickle your fancies and if you have other indie titles that you're looking forward to. Thank you for watching, be kind, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.